Hello, welcome to Shamanism, Metaphysics, and Grace. I'm Lauren Hubele, interviewing astrologer Jyoti Wind. Jyoti, looks like we're going to be reviewing the first 2 weeks of September.
Yeah, yeah. Because of this full moon, blue moon, super moon that we had last night, the second full moon in the month of August, and closest to the Earth, super moon. And its influence will last until the new moon, so the first 2 weeks, yes. And also because Mercury is retrograde and will go direct on September 15th. So that's the first half of September also. However, Venus will go direct on Sunday, this coming Sunday. And so a lot of our values and priorities that we've been maybe rethinking over the past several weeks, when Venus goes direct at 7:20 Mountain Daylight Time on Sunday, we'll probably want to implement some of the things that we've rethought and reshaped and reinvigorated in a way.
So we might be putting some changes into play as of Sunday.
Yeah, I think so. And there's a lot of creative energy right now because the planet Uranus is just went retrograde on the 28th, 3 days ago, and it's in this what's called stationing time frame till September 4th. And so it's like this week and into the end of the weekend, we're under the planet Uranus's energies. You
Mhm.
know, they're kind of like taking over, so to speak, and it's that, pat expression of expect the unexpected, but it's also highly creative, and Jupiter is moving up toward it. It's just started to come within orb of the planet Uranus, and it won't conjunct it for a while. I mean, for months, but it's the beginning of a couple different things, which is Earth changes because the planet Uranus is in Taurus. And so we've had more earthquakes, more unsettledness over the past, let's say, 6, 8 months, maybe
Mhm.
a year. But Jupiter expands. And so Jupiter coming up to the planet Uranus can be great luck, good fortune, unexpected opportunities, but it also expands the planet Uranus's business in Taurus, which is change. And because it's
Oh,
Taurus, some earth changes. So, over the next year, we may see more of that.
so Jyoti, what's the time span for that?
For
Like
the
the good fortune and the creative energy that you've just shared
um now,
right
but
now.
generally speaking, for this next year, roughly, at
Okay.
least for the next 6, 8 months.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's
Um,
expect the unexpected, but so that could be good fortune, or it could
yes,
be a challenge that this creativity helps solve.
yes. Or that this energy kind of catalyzes the
Ooh,
creative energy, boosts it,
okay.
and gives it, maybe gives it a focus. Because sometimes, you can feel the creativity or the creative urge, but it's like, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to paint? Do I want to sculpt? Do I want to sit down and write? Do I want to just make a nice meal? I mean, because creativity comes out in so many forms. And so now there might be more of a focus, especially with this full moon last night, this blue moon, because the moon and Saturn were together, and it's this either or, and either one is analyzing things, trying to do it right, or one is learning to go with the flow and develop a deeper level of trust and faith. And so the moon is also with Saturn, so it could suggest a little bit more emotional discipline, more emotional focus, but yet having a looseness there that wants to be balanced with Virgo's got to get it right, got to get it right the first time, got to figure this out, got to analyze it, take it apart. And the moon in Pisces is saying, oh, have a cup of tea, just let it go. You'll figure it out, or it'll come to you, or you'll wake up in the morning with the answer. You don't have to stress yourself. So it's that balance between knowledge and faith, I guess you could say, as
Ooh.
an overview. Between knowledge and faith, between knowing and trying to figure it out with the mind, and the emotions are saying, let's just go with this. Let's see where it takes us. Let's see what's possible here that we haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah. And like knowing the right thing versus there not really being a right thing. Let's just be open to the flow.
Yes.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
the possibilities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And for folks, listening, this could be showing up in a number of different parts of their life, or is it just
Absolutely.
right? So
Yep.
job, relationships.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wherever that full moon happens to fall in their chart, that's where they're going to see this little bit of tension, of how not to get caught in the figuring it out and thinking you have to know, with the willingness to go with the flow and have it show itself to you. You
So
know, so
I'm sorry, this would be where Pisces falls in their chart.
Well, people look at where the moon falls and call it that. I'm very aware that the sun is the center of things and the focus. So to me, this is the Virgo full moon. When we're in Pisces in March, then it will be the Pisces full moon with the moon in Virgo. But for right now, this to me is, the moon is a reflection of the sun. The
Mhm.
moon isn't astronomically, I guess you would say. I mean, it is an entity in itself, but the sun is the center. The sun is the god in the old religions, and the moon was the feminine and the mother. And so the focus is the sun, and where the sun falls to me, even in eclipses, this is the point of focus.
Okay.
So the point of focus is, where do you overanalyze? Where do you get your mind in there and try to figure things out and feel like you have to come up with an answer and the truth? And the moon reflectively is pulling, like the tides in the ocean. The moon is pulling on that sun and saying, not so fast. Let's just settle into the feelings here. Let's just be open to what else can happen instead of this, mind churning and feeling like I got to get it right. Let's just see what else there is. Let's see where the invitation
Mhm.
is to see it differently.
So this is Virgo and Pisces then
Yes, yes,
talking to each other. Yeah.
yes. With you in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
What a great visual though, Jyoti, because I think we actually feel that way. Like there are these conversations going on around us, and we are in the center of it. And with, who do we listen to, right? What our own ourself, right?
Yes, yes. Yes. And just like the moon pulls on the tides, it pulls on the fluids in the body and the
Mm,
brain. And so, we have to find a way to balance mind and feelings,
mm, mm,
what the mind wants and what the emotions are offering. And so,
mm,
how do we find a balance with this pull, this dynamic pull, energetic pull that's going on?
mm, nice, nice.
Yeah.
And we should continue to feel that through until the next new moon.
Well, interestingly enough, I had a chat with somebody who's into werewolves. And so, yeah, I
Of
know.
course you did.
And of course. And in this show she was watching, it said that the full moon has an influence of 3 days. So people who are werewolves um, have that pull to express that other side of their personality for 3 days. So I wouldn't say going on that. And it was a TV show with who knows how much research done. But I would think that definitely there is a coming into the full moon, and then the beginning of the waning. Whether the fullness of that influence is felt for 2 solid weeks, um, I don't usually experience that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, things have been
Feels
set
most
in motion.
intense. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's right around the day of the full moon, and maybe the day after, like today and tonight, maybe tomorrow. Um, yeah. And then it starts to wane a bit because it is waning. It is waning out, getting ready for the new moon where it will wax again.
Mhm. I heard a lot of folks talk about feeling really tired and overwhelmed coming into this
Yeah.
supermoon. What would that be about?
Well, you've got the planet Uranus stationing. You've got Venus getting ready to go direct. Mercury is retrograde. Um, you've got this full moon pull energetically.
Mhm.
Um, and for people who might have strong Pisces, Saturn has entered Pisces months ago. And so they may feel this tamping down of, hey, it's time to sit a little bit and rest and reorganize and reevaluate what's important.
Hmm.
So that could lead to fatigue.
Mhm.
There's a
Mhm.
lot going on a multi-dimensional level. And the body is the last place to get the juice. So there's a lot of things that are going on in the etheric, mental, emotional levels that are all simultaneously asking for change, asking for
Mhm.
attention. And so the physical body, the person just goes, yeah, I'm going to take a nap.
Yeah.
Because the consciousness, the conscious mind, and the personality, the ego can just take so much at one
Mhm.
time, and just feels like, okay, I need to just step back for a minute and process some things that are going on, and then come back into the flow.
Sweet. Jyoti, the last time we talked, you touched on this once in a blue moon. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Well, the blue moon is when, there's two of the same moon phases in a month. So a new moon could be a blue moon if there's two new moons in a calendar month. This happens to be the blue moon of the full moon because we had a full moon on August 1st and then a full moon on August 30th. And so, there's always that old expression, oh, it would only happen once in a blue moon. And that's the truth of it. Things that are different, opportunities that maybe have been waiting in the wings or that hadn't even appeared on the table are suddenly available. And or a conversation that you have been wanting to have with somebody, and then all of a sudden the door opens and that person is available for that. So it's not your standard day-to-day, everyday, way
Mhm.
of doing things. There's a little bit of a shift there,
Mhm.
to allow some things that normally don't happen to occur.
Mhm.
It could
Mhm.
be a realization, it could be an epiphany, it could be, um, yeah, different, just an understanding of something.
Sure, sure. Your examples are always so spot on, Jyoti. I just have to call that out because I'm sure, like our listeners, I'm sitting here going, check, that's true. Check, that's also true. And because they're so realistic and you're moving through your day with all of these things happening until you call it out like this, I think we don't really put words to it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's under our radar. We don't even see it, you know. But sometimes we notice it and then maybe we notice it again and then we go, "Oh, wait a minute. Something else is going on here," you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
we catch it maybe on the third time, you know. I mean, we're inundated. Our life is inundated with screens and families and work and all different and social stuff that's going on out in the world, and so a lot of times we're really distracted, and so we don't catch things right away. It takes a while. That's why when we look at eclipses, I'll say, oh, 3 to 6 months out. You know, in 3 to 6 months, this is what you could expect. Not usually the day of, but out a ways by the time it makes an impression on us, like we get it because we're distracted a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
So also what's going on out there in the larger universe, in our inner universe, our multiverse, um, we have a Mercury, Uranus, Pluto, and Jupiter moving in a little bit toward the Uranus, grand trine going on. It's not exact yet, but it's close enough for it to be felt. And so there's the beginnings of this um, ease, a certain ease, a certain ability perhaps to relax, a certain ability to feel in the flow of something from our own cognition. It's Mercury. So but it's in Earth, so it's practical day-to-day affairs. Um, and a grand trine suggests ease and flow. The mind, Mercury, understands, cognizes, looks at, delves into, sees deeper, flashes on things intuitively. That's Mercury, Uranus, and Pluto all together. So there's a way moving forward as Mercury moves to tighten up this eclipse a little bit, because right now, today, it's roughly 8 degrees away, well, probably 9 degrees away from Pluto, and it's at least 5 degrees away from the planet Uranus. So um, over time, especially after Mercury goes direct in mid-September, this grand trine in Earth will become more evident and felt and experienced. And there might be some very practical things that are a lot easier to do and see than they've been, maybe ever, for some
okay,
people.
Jyoti, that may be the most important thing you've said for anyone listening, because we're all looking for ease right now. So
Right.
let's mark our calendars. We're talking about mid-September here.
We're actually, let me pinpoint this a little bit more, because Mercury is in its retrograde condition, so it's going to move out of orb. Let's see, September, more around the end of September, let's say the 28th, 29th, 30th, it's starting to move in closer, and then it would be the 1st of October. It is setting off the trine to the planet Uranus and keeping that trine energy going. And then by the 3rd of October, it's trining Pluto exactly. So it's like the end of September through the first week of October. That's when that grand trine is really in place.
Okay. Okay. I think that's a nice carrot out there for all of us who are feeling the intensity of this period. Like this is a lot.
Yeah,
There's
it is a lot. It is a lot, Lauren. And not to make light of it, but I can't help but say, like somebody said to me this morning, well, things just changed and I didn't really have any choice about it. And I said, wait a minute. Way back When your soul decided to take this life on, that was the choice point. Your ego may not feel like I'm choosing this and I'm choosing that right at the moment, but the choice has already been made from coming here
Yeah.
at this point in time. And I've said this before, but I love this loose quote, and it's on my end, it's very loose, from Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who said, "We were cut from the long timbers of the forest. We are the boats that can handle the deeper waters." I got chills. And it's a time that we chose to come here to be whatever our age is for this period of time, to help move humanity into this next grand phase, and so maybe the ego choices aren't exactly what you would like right now, like choosing between vanilla and chocolate instead of raspberry swirl supreme. You know what I mean? but but there is always choice. You can like it or fight it. You can go with it, or dig your heels in and refuse. But the choice was made a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so continuing to maybe, envision yourself as one of those longboats that can handle the deeper
Mhm.
waters,
Yes.
and that you're here to help usher in this next phase.
Mhm. It's a beautiful image, I think, for everyone to hold when they start feeling the current.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
choppy some days.
yeah, it
Some
is.
days that current is choppy, some days there's a storm overhead. But the longboats, they kind of all pull together and you know, invite other boats into the mix.
Like, anything else we need to know about this first half of September?
Um, I think after Venus goes direct on Sunday, I think things will feel a little bit lighter and more doable. Um, but always keep in the back of your mind that Mercury is still retrograde. Sometimes I forget, and it's like, how come all this is happening and I missed that and I didn't send the right Zoom link out the other day? And it's like, oh, yeah, yeah, okay, time for more meditation.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good reminder for us all that this period is about going inward and taking that time.
It is. It is. I mean, it only happens 3 times a year for 3 weeks at a time, and it's a gift in itself. I mean, not everybody looks at it that way. It does get frustrating, but it is an invitation to go inside.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, thank you for all those pearls of wisdom you shared, Jyoti, and I look
You're
forward to
so
our next update.
okay. Thank you, Lauren.